Hey everybody, how are you doing tonight? I assume there's people on here I can't really see. Um, so anyway, awesome. Okay, I see people jumping on now. So anyway, so I'm happy to be here tonight. I'm going to be sharing with you tonight just about experience, strength, and hope in our recovery process. But first of all, I just want to remind everyone about the CR Summit, which is coming up, our first online summit, which is coming up July 30th and 31st. If you need information or you haven't signed up yet, go to crsummits.com. I'm just really excited about this. It's going to be a great time. I can't wait to hear what our national leaders have to talk to us about and encourage us with, so that, hey, we can just keep on moving forward in our recoveries. The cost is $49 per ticket. If you buy 5, you get the 6th one free. So this is a great opportunity to just invite someone that maybe wouldn't come to a Celebrate Recovery, because this summit is for everyone. There's going to be a lot of encouragement that we can all use right now. There's been a lot going on in our communities, in our neighborhoods, in our country, and we all need that hope and encouragement that can come from something like this. So I can't wait. I'm really excited. So the other thing, if you need, a CR t-shirt, this is the summit shirt this year. You can go to pastors.com to get all of your CR gear, t-shirts, your recovery tools, things that you need for your ministries. It's all on there. Pastors.com. So, like I said a little bit earlier, tonight we're going to be talking about experience, strength, and hope. So, one of the things that, this is for everybody. So if there's new people on here tonight, Lord, I just want to welcome you. I'm glad that you're here. And I pray that there'll be something that maybe you hear from this, Lord, that can help you. So I am going to just move forward here. So many times I think when I'm talking to people and I'm walking alongside of others in recovery, I've often asked some questions. People have questions, and they want my advice. They want to know what I think. But so some of those questions might be, what should I do about this relationship? What should I tell the person? What should I say to them? How can I tell them this? Should I take this job, or should I keep the one that I have? Should I leave my abusive spouse? What should I do with my rebellious child? How can I make my family members stop drinking and using? And the list can just go on and on and on. People always have questions. They are struggling and looking for answers. It's hard, I know, because I have been in that place. Indecisive, confused, uncertain, miserable, worried, fearful, anxious, living in that cycle of insanity. And as a codependent, it's easy for me to want to tell everyone what they should do, right? After all, I know everything, or at least I thought I did. But I have learned the hard way that I'm not anyone's Holy Spirit. God is in control. God is God, and I'm not. So instead of talking to, instead of sharing with them, this is what you should do, instead I can share my experience, right? And strengthen my hope. This is what happened to me, and this is what I did, and this is what the Lord did for me, sharing my failures and my victories. So in all honesty, the greatest thing I can share with anyone is simply this: my experience, my strength, and my hope. In other words, my testimony, my story, sharing what God has done for me, and what I couldn't do for myself. Revelation 12:11 says, they triumphed over him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. They did not love their lives as much as to shrink from death. Our testimony is important, and I think it's very important because it's God's story. You know, it's His story. It's about us, but it's about what He's done through us. So, what is your experience? Experience is what? Knowledge, you know. It's mastery of an event or a subject gained through involvement in, like you're involved in something or you've been exposed to something. Something we've been through or something we've been a part of. That's what our experience is. So why is it important to share our experiences? Well, number one, it's not just about the moments, right? It's not just about those times. It's about the feelings and thoughts that go with it. Sharing our experiences helps others relate to us and makes it safe for them. It's the key that can unlock the door for someone who is struggling. It can be that first step. It can also help them to realize that they're not alone. You know, when I first got into recovery, I thought I was the only one that was going through this. You know, I had a son who was struggling. I started in Al-Anon, and I just thought I was all alone. I didn't know that there were people out there that, you know, that could help me or even knew how I felt and what I was going through. But the other thing that it can also do is can propel them toward the strength and the hope part, right? Because if they can relate to you, if they can relate to your experiences, then, you know, they'll stick around, and therefore then they can move on to the next step. For me personally, this was huge. Like I said, I had struggled alone for so many years, and just having someone share their experience with me was vital. The other thing that I think about is the why and the what. So, why did I go through this? You know, for years I asked the why question about anything and everything. Why did my ex-husband have an affair? Why am I here to raise my 2 kids alone? Why did my son start using drugs at the age of 15? Why did the car have to break down? I don't have money to fix it. Why am I even here? You know, like Rick Warren says, what on earth am I here for? Just the why, the why questions. But you know what? Asking why questions kept me stuck. It kept me stuck in trying to figure out the reasons these things happened. Things that were out of my control. Questions that I may never get the answers to. But you know what? When I'm asking the why questions, it keeps me in that helpless victim mentality. I was hopeless and I didn't see any way out. But what have I learned? To ask the what questions. Not the why question, but what? What, Lord, do you want me to do? And here's just a few of them. What is one good thing I've learned from this? What is there one good thing that I have learned through this experience? What was the downside to that situation I can be thankful for is no longer my burden to carry? Because sometimes we're in those situations, you know, whether it be a codependent relationship or whatever, that, you know, it is a burden to us. And sometimes when that is gone, it can be a blessing. So it's looking at the downside. What is no longer my burden to carry? Another one, what were the unrealistic expectations that I may have had? And how can I do better manage these the next time? Because, you know, it's not always one-sided. Usually we all have a responsibility in it. So, what were my unrealistic expectations? What can I do to increase my courage in order to move forward into future opportunities? So, how can I move forward from this? You know, what can I do to move forward? Another one, what is one positive change I could make in my attitude about this, about the future, you know? You know, what is my attitude? You know, do I have a bad attitude? I always use the word, it's not really a word, but I always say attitudinal, you know, just having that attitude. The next one, what are some negative feelings that I need to pray about and work through in order to be more productive in life and ministry? You know, am I holding on to resentment? Am I holding on to a grudge? You know, am I angry? What is it? Is there anything that I need to let go of? The last one, what is one thing God has been asking me to do today to make tomorrow easier? So what can I do today that can make tomorrow easier? So asking the what questions helps me to move forward, not stay stuck in my cycle of insanity by dwelling on the things I cannot change. I'm going to move on to strength. Inherent, active, achieving power. That's the biblical definition of strength. Inherent, active, achieving power. So strength is power. And the power that we have through our relationship with Jesus, you know, is the same. It's the same power that Jesus had, you know, the same power that raised him from the dead. We have that power. Where does my strength come from? Finally, be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the evil schemes. Ephesians 6:10 and 11. Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through him who gives me strength. 2 Corinthians 12:9 through 11. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weaknesses and insults and hardships and persecutions and difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong. So what does that mean to me in my recovery? When I am weak, I can be strong, but it's his strength, right? The opposite of power/strength is powerlessness, right? And that's what we talk about in our first principle. Realize that I'm not God. I admit that I am powerless to control my tendency to do the wrong thing and that my life is unmanageable. Happy are those who know they are spiritually poor, Matthew 5:3. So what does that mean? It means I can't do it. I do not have the power. But the second principle tells us what? What does the second principle tell us? It says he can. He can do it. It says, honestly believe that God exists, that I matter to him, and that he has the power or the strength to help me recover. He has the strength. I do not have it. Happy are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted, Matthew 4. You know, this was one of my biggest problems, and I struggled with this for many years of my life. I thought I could do everything on my own. I didn't need anyone else. I could do it, and guess what? I failed miserably. I don't have the power to change anyone or anything, not even myself. God has all the power. When I submit to him, he and only he can change anything and everything. When I am weak, then he can be strong in me. That was a big lesson that I had to learn. So next we come to hope. Hope, a confident expectation of what God has promised. Hope is the belief that circumstances will get better. It's not a wish, right? It's not a wish for things to get better. It's an actual belief and knowledge that things will get better no matter how big or small. So it's not a wish. It's not, well, I'm wishing this is going to happen. No, we have the hope that says this is going to happen, right? We have that hope. And where does my hope come from? Blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord and whose hope is the Lord. My hope is in the Lord. Jeremiah 17:17. Along with this, there's a saying by Helen Keller that I just love. Hope sees the invisible, feels the intangible, and achieves the impossible. Hope is a powerful inner force that transcends the physical limitations of our world. You know, we can't see hope, but it transcends those limitations of the world, right? Hope sees the invisible. The visible realm is reality to us, what we can see, right? The things around us. However, in the midst of our physical world, there's also areas that are invisible to us. There's things that we can't see, right? We can see the results of their existence, but we can't actually see them. We cannot see the wind, right? But we know it exists because we can see it, and we can feel it. We can feel it if the wind is blowing, or we can see it when the trees are moving. But we cannot see love, joy, peace, thoughts, any of those things. But we know they exist because we can see what they produce. Hope allows us to see things that can't be seen or are not visible. Hope allows us to see things that can't be seen or are not visible. Hope allows us to imagine possibilities. Hope allows us to envision the future, which doesn't exist yet, right? It allows us to see the goodness that's obvious to the naked eye. That isn't obvious to the naked eye. 2 Corinthians 5:7, for we live by faith, not by sight, right? We live by faith. We can't always see what's going to happen or know what's going to happen, but you know what? We're going to be okay. We're going to be okay because of our hope and our faith in Jesus Christ. The next part, hope feels the intangible. Intangible, like something that's intangible, you can't touch it or grasp it. It doesn't have a physical presence. Difficult or impossible to define or understand. It's vague and abstract. With hope, it is possible to feel or experience things which can't be touched or defined. Helen Keller, another one of her quotes, the best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart. Hope allows us to feel with our hearts and minds, not just our hands. There are things that can't be physically touched, but hope allows us to feel them through an emotional experience. Hope is like that. It allows us to feel things, right? And these include this fruit of the Spirit. Like we can't see love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, self-control, but we can see the effects of them. So that's another thing that hope is. And the last thing, which is really important, it achieves the impossible. When we have hope, we can achieve the impossible. God can achieve the impossible. Hope can be a powerful motivator. Hope allows us to set our goals by believing in the possibility that we can do it. Hope achieves the impossible. Here are some other things that hope is. Hope shines brightest when our hour is darkest. I got this from a friend, by the way. I'll start over. Hope shines brightest when the hour is darkest. Hope motivates when discouragement comes. Hope energizes when the body is tired. Hope sweetens while bitterness bites. Hope sings when all melodies are gone. Hope believes when evidence is eliminated. Hope listens for answers when no one is talking. Hope climbs over obstacles when no one is helping us. Hope endures hardship when no one is caring. Hope smiles confidently when no one is laughing. Hope reaches for answers when no one is asking. Hope presses toward victory when no one is encouraging us. Hope dares to give when no one is sharing. Hope brings a victory when no one is winning. In one big 2 words, hope overcomes. Whatever it is that you're going through, it can be overcome. Because you know what? Who is our hope? Jesus. And he can overcome anything. So I just want to encourage you that whenever you find yourself losing hope, doubting how far you can go, just remember how far you have come. Remember everything you have faced, all the battles you have won, along with all the fears you have overcome. Hope overcomes. Remember that. Hope overcomes. So how do we achieve the impossible? How do we do that? It's Christ in you. It's Christ in me. It's Christ in us collectively. The hope of glory, right? Jesus is the hope of glory. So once more, it's Christ in you. It's Christ in me. It's Christ in us. The hope of glory. That's how we overcome. So I don't know about you, but I just think our story, our experience, strength, and hope is a very important thing. And there are people out there everywhere who need to hear your experience, strength, and hope, your story, everywhere, you know, especially right now. We've got a lot going on in our country, in our world. People need to hear this. So I'm going to leave you with something tonight. I encourage you to write your 3-minute elevator testimony. And do you know what that is? It's just a 2 to 3 minute testimony that's going to talk about the before. Who were you before you embraced Jesus? Who were you? I know I was a mess, but anyway, who were you? How did you come to know him? Right? Just a few words. Who were you before Jesus? How did you come to know him? And after. The after. What has Christ done in your life? What has changed? What has changed? That's how you can share your experience, strength, and hope. And I'm telling you one more time. There are people out there that need to hear this hope. This is the time, if there ever was one. So I just want to ask you, what's holding you back? What is holding you back from sharing the hope of Christ? What is holding you back? And I just see on there, Noelle, I just want to speak to you right now. You're not a loser. You are loved. Get back up and move forward. So that's what I'm going to leave you tonight. I know it's short. That's really all I have. But, you know, if anybody has questions on here, you know, I'll be glad I can watch and I can try to ask them or answer your questions. But just think about that. What is holding you back? Is it fear? Is it low self-esteem? Don't think you have anything to share? What is it? Yes. What is it that's holding you back? So thank you for being on here tonight. Love to all of you. And I'll be praying for you. I'll be praying for you that you can step out and share the hope that you have found. Thank you all. Thanks for letting me share with you tonight. Love you. See you again. Bye.